Right, hello everyone. Welcome to today's Two Saints show with myself, Mark C, and my co-host Mark H. How you doing, Mark?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Busy show to get through, mate. Loads of different topics to talk about, and or different articles to talk about. Definitely. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope our listeners, the people that help us with the show, are all safe and well.
Absolutely.
And looking after themselves.
Yeah, and obviously a huge thanks to all the people that contribute to the show and help us with it. We really appreciate it. You know you are. Thank you massively. And we'll be in touch when we've got more work for you, trust me. And there's plenty to come. Right, and just to remind everyone, we've got our Facebook page now, which is the Two Saints Show. Go on Facebook, you can see us on there. You can find us on there. And you can also get our latest edition of our podcast. And if you message it directly on that page, we can send it to you directly. You can also, if you don't want to do that, you can also go onto our YouTube channel, the Two Saints Podcast Show. You can check the podcast out on there. And you can obviously get it from there. You can obviously subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free, so feel free to do that. It'd be great if you can. And obviously leave us any comments you want to leave when you've listened to the podcast. Let us know if you like the content. If you like what we're doing, positive or negative, doesn't really matter. We thrive on your feedback and we really appreciate it. So coming up in today's show for you, we've got our Two Saints review of the mighty Saints 1, Man City 0. Let me repeat that. Saints 1, Man City 0. You heard that right, everybody. Saints news, other football news, Saints transfer news, and our preview of Everton versus Saints and Man United versus Saints. So that's another 6 points. No, I'm joking. Right. So just got a little disclaimer we normally put out for you, and once we've done that, we'll be coming back. And we'll be straight into our Two Saints review of Saints 1, Man City 0.
Fiesta FM Southampton 95.0 FM.
Disclaimer. The following program contains language, views and opinions that may be unsuitable for some listeners. This is not necessarily a view or judgment of Fiesta FM, its management, other hosts or advertisers. The show is for entertainment purpose only and is not intended to defame, insult, or offend anybody in any shape or form whatsoever. Listeners are advised to exercise caution in their own environment when listening to the show.
It's Mark C and Mark H. Mark my word, they're here with everything in the Two Saints Show.
Right, welcome back, everybody. So, Two Saints review of Saints 1, Man City 0. That's Saints 1, Man City 0. Absolutely brilliant, absolutely fantastic. What a time to be a Saints fan. The last 24 hours have been fabulous. Absolutely brilliant. And for me, highlight of all of them, no matter what else happened, Che Adams off the mark for Southampton, finally, and in some style, Mark.
Get in.
Yeah, away you go, Mark. I'll let you start.
Okay, so...
In goal.
Just from my own point of view, obviously the goal was stunning. And we had a few other chances. Stuart Armstrong. Danny Ings had a chance, funnily enough, as well. Stuart Armstrong's chance was fairly late on in the game. But, the thing is, Mark, at the end of the day, sometimes, you know that you're playing against a quality side. Yep. Okay? So it's with a team like Saints, it's all about when they're coming up against the bigger clubs and the bigger, better quality sides, it's all to do with work rate, cohesiveness, togetherness, and working as a unit. And I thought we closed down, we shut off, and yes, we rode our luck. We did ride our luck. I mean, Jesus probably should have done better with a few chances that he had.
It's something like 20, something like 26 attempts for Man City or something like that. It's something silly like that. And Jesus had 6 of those.
Yeah. I mean,
to be fair, it wasn't just him. It's the fact that Alex McCarthy had an absolute blinding game for Saints, didn't he?
Yeah,
bar one moment where he had a bit of a flap towards the end of the game, which was hearts in mouth moment. Other than that, he was unbeatable, and he was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was their core, but you have to give special mention to Alex McCarthy. I mean, you and I have been slightly critical of him in the last couple of performances because he's tended to go walkabout a little bit like an Australian, but having said that, he was immense. The two central defenders, Bednarek and Stevens, were both immense.
Absolutely.
And I think it was because we were compact as well. And there was this shall not pass type of attitude. People were throwing themselves, and I've got to mention Stevens and Bednarek in that sentence, where they were both throwing themselves in front of the ball.
It's as well.
Like that.
We were commenting on how well Jack Stevens and Carl Walker-Peters actually played, and both of them actually made it into the Premier League Team of the Week. So I wasn't even surprised by that.
Yeah, no, I was. I mean, Kyle Walker-Peters got my man of the match.
Well, the thing is, if you pick some of the bones out of the game as well, Man City manager Pep Guardiola has lost 3 consecutive away league games for the first time in his managerial career. Well done, Saints. That's another record. Saints have ended a run of 6 consecutive Premier League defeats against Man City. The first league victory against them since May 2016 in the league. City have lost 9 Premier League games this season. So that's quite a few to lose, actually. Saints have won 11 points against big sides in the Premier League this season. Only Wolves have won more outside of those big 6 sides. Shay Adams' first goal for Saints was the longest range Premier League goal so far this season. 39 yards, arrived in his 25th appearance with his 22nd shot in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a couple.
And Man City, 26 shots in the game, which is their highest tally in a Premier League match without scoring since March 2016, and when they recorded the same number against Man United. So that just shows the sort of barrage Saints were up against and how much they stood up against it, to be fair.
I mean, all I wanted to say, Mark, was I know we do it every week, and like I said, Kyle Walker-Peters was my man of the match, right? But Danny Ings' work rate from the front of the pitch to the back of the pitch. I mean, there was 2 headers that I remember that he headed away. Two efforts at goal. And he headed them both away. And I was sat there going, he may not win the Golden Boot this season. It looks like Jimmy Vardy's ran away with it, to be fair. But I tell you what, he is the hardest working centre forward in the Premier League. Definitely the hardest working.
I don't think he's done yet, to be fair. I'm waiting, after his heroics against Portsmouth, I'm waiting for a hat-trick against Bournemouth now just to rub salt into the wound.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, I was tinged with sadness on Sunday, mate, I've got to say, because even though it was marvellous to watch Shay Adams score his first goal for us, right? There was a tinge of sadness in that there was nobody, there was no Saints supporters in the stadium to witness it, because...
In fairness, I don't think there would have been a stadium standing afterwards, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, the love that man would have got afterwards, and, I don't know if Shay ever would listen to our podcast or listen to our show, but trust me, mate, I think every Saints fan, to the core, was willing you to get on that score sheet, and the way you did it, fantastic.
Well, I spend a fair bit of time on social media, as you know, and I've been checking out certain things since that game and since that goal. And most of the people on there absolutely glowing in tribute to Shay Adams. They're so happy for him. The players were so happy for him. I mean, part of me's very sad we weren't there to see it, but part of me's glad we weren't there to see it, because to be fair, I don't think there would have been much of St Mary's standing after that. I think it would have pulled the place down. And it was a fantastic goal. And as I say, I'm a little bit sad that nobody was there to see that. But he's off the mark, and hopefully that'll give him... And to be fair, for me, being on the run he'd been on and not scoring, to take that goal in the manner he took it, fair play to him. It's sheer audacity, great vision, and just brilliantly executed. First time as well. So to execute a goal like that after you've been on the run he's been on, that's huge. And that's got to be massive for his confidence. That was the sort of goal you'd expect somebody high on confidence to score, not a guy who's gone 8 or 9 games without anything. So, fair play to it. It's a fantastic goal. Absolutely fantastic. Stuart Armstrong would be feeling a bit gutted he didn't get there first, to be fair.
I've always said in defence of Shay, at the start of the season, he was starting games, and he's only actually started 9 games for Saints this season, and obviously he wasn't hitting form, so he was replaced. And then obviously it's been difficult for him to get back into the side. But I actually think it's more likely to come the start of next season, and especially now we're safe. I think you'll see Danny Ings being partnered by Shea Adams more, and then Shane Long will come on as a substitute.
Yeah.
Much in the same way he did on Sunday. So I think we'll see more of that towards the end of the season, and we'll see more of it come next season. So
I was thinking about the game as well, and there were three things for me that stood out, and it reminded me very, very reminiscent of the team we had under a certain other former manager. And the reason I'm going to say what I'm going to say is three things stood out for me: fitness, intensity, and commitment. And those three things were there. And the last time I saw those three things in our team, forgetting Ronald Koeman, because that was quite champagne football, as I called it almost, Gordon Strachan. The team under Gordon Strachan played with commitment, they played with intensity, and they were fit.
They were fit.
And for me, against City, they looked committed and they looked intense. And for me, those three things were huge. And that's what made the difference. And we actually covered more ground than Man City. I think it worked out. In the end, we actually ran 8 kilometres further than they did.
Yeah. No, and like I say, Mark, it was a brilliant point that you made about Gordon Strachan, because, Gordon was at his time at Saints, I would say at the time we had the fittest team in the Premier League. I'd be very surprised if we didn't. And all the team should be rightly proud of their performances. Everybody that took to the pitch on Sunday should be proud of their performances. And certainly us as Saints supporters, we're proud of the performance, Yeah,
I love what Ralph had to say as well. He was Ralph Hudson, who was overjoyed with a stupendous Southampton performance as they overcame last year's Premier League champions Man City to register a third win since the restart. So 3 wins since the restart, guys. That's a pretty good start for a team notoriously bad at starting anything. So well done, Saints. But like what Ralph said, if you have to run more than City, fight more than them, but you also have to be sometimes brave with the ball to try and give them problems. We had some chances to score a second goal, which I think is true. And in the end, it was an unbelievable fight from his side, and he's very happy with that performance. It's always possible when you're committed and you wait for the right moments. Absolutely. And Shea, really happy for him. Worked so hard on all the games before that. Everyone was celebrating his goal. I cannot imagine a better time for him to score for the first time. Well, I can. When there's a full stadium there to cheer him on.
Yes, can I?
Yeah, but no, I thought it was really good. So there was that, and also Ralph also saying that was our best home performance since he took charge, and I can't argue with that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. So sometimes it was like the Alamo, but in terms of you said, commitment, throwing your body on the line a lot of the time and stuff like that. You can't fault it, and thinking about it. It probably was the best performance. I think before that, I would have picked out the Tottenham game where we came back from 1-0 down.
The thing is for me, Mark, about it was the fact that for me, it made an absolute mockery of our home form this season, didn't it?
I know.
For me, it made a mockery of it, because you're thinking, well, how on earth have we not won more games at home? Well, it's very simple. We haven't played like that at home every game. If we'd played that at home every game, we certainly would have won more than we'd lost. That's the thing. That's the level you want to see the team at. You want them at that level. The question now is, can we maintain it?
It was like you said, it was all about being compact and making themselves hard to beat. And absolutely. I think the thing is once you've got the goal, then you've got something to work with. But certainly, you do wonder in terms of the commitment that was shown, because sometimes, you question whether the commitment was there. I was sat there on Saturday thinking to myself, would this have been the same sort of performance if the supporters were in the stadium? Because I do think, in terms of the players, they probably feel the pressure's a little bit less off them, to be fair. I'm just looking at it from a player's point of view. But certainly you do sit there and you do wonder how it is that, we've managed to lose so many games at home this season. But it makes me optimistic for the next 2 games, and then it doesn't look as bad then if we can win, our next the last 2 home games of the season.
The thing is, to be honest with you, if I was Ralph now and the first team coaches, I would be replaying that video over and over and over. This is what you got to do week in, week out, guys. You do this week in, week out, you're going to win more than you lose. And you will move on.
Certainly against the top sides. Against the top sides.
Now, a couple of other things as well. Shay Adams saying that his goal was instinctive. Well, I'll tell you what, young man, that is some instinct. Take a bow. And he hopes to embark on a goal scoring run. Yeah, we all hope you do as well, Shay, to be fair. Most of us have been willing you to do that. Yeah. And I'm hoping now that it will be like James Beattie said. And James Beattie called it 100%. He said Shay will score a worldie when nobody's expecting it. It's exactly what he did. It was a worldie. Contender for goal of the season, I'm led to believe as well.
Yeah,
which is absolutely great.
Well, it sounds like he's going to be shortlisted.
Yep. So Beats was absolutely spot on, and obviously he coached him at Birmingham, so he knows him better than anyone probably. Who said, he's going to score a worldie when no one's expecting it, which he did. So we all hope he's going to go on a run now, because he's certainly got the capability. He proved that in the Championship. And obviously he's now scored in the Premier League, so he's got that monkey off his back now. So hopefully he'll be able to play with a little bit more freedom.
Yeah, I mean, all I want to say about that is, Seamus, we're all behind you. We all want you to do well, so keep plugging away. And like I said, now that you've got off the mark, hopefully you'll be going on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, and if those are the sort of goals you're going to score, do us a favour. Save us a couple for when we're there to see
it. Exactly, Mish. Especially those sort of goals, yeah.
Absolutely. Right, so that brings us to the end of our review of Saints 1, Man City 0. And we're going to take a small break now, and when we come back from that, we'll be doing Saints news.
The Two Saints Show here on Fiesta FM. Tune in every Thursday, 12 till 2, for informative football chat and great tunes.
All right, welcome back, everyone. The next topic before we move on to the Saints news is Saints versus Man City on the BBC actually broke the Premier League TV audience record. Are you ready for this, everyone? Because this is fantastic. So Southampton's 1-0 win over Man City. Yes, 1-0 win over Man City. On the BBC on Sunday was the Premier League's most watched televised match with an audience of, ready for this, 5.7 million. 5.7 million. Just let that sink in, everyone, for a few minutes. 5.7 million people watched Saints put Man City to the sword. Fantastic.
All I want to say on that, Mark, is let's hope that we got a few converts out of it. I mean, 5.7 million people. Surely a few after Sunday will have converted to being Saints fans.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah, if you want to see more strikes like that from Shay Adams, everyone, you know what to do. It's called Southampton Football Club. Follow us. Come on, you Reds.
Come on, you Saints.
And all I'm going to say is, looking at the blue flu down the road, top that Pompey. Oh, yeah, you probably won't. Anyway. Right, moving on. Saints news. So, beginning with, this is really good, I think, Mark, as well. Audio description commentary is now available. So, Southampton FC and Alan March Sport are providing special commentary to make the matchday experience inclusive for all our blind and partially sighted supporters. Absolutely fantastic. Yet another positive initiative from the club.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, and you know, I believe that the SDSA had a little bit of input from that. From our secretary Paul Lucas, but you know, hats off to the club again. I mean, it's amazed me, Mark, in the sense that, you know, like I said before, you know, you and I can have a bit of a moan whenever things aren't going well on the pitch, but I've got to say, you know, things recently off the pitch, the club's just been superb from top to bottom, and now that we're getting performances on the pitch as well, you know, there isn't a lot to complain about if you're a Saints fan, you know. But
the good news is as well, for anyone who's worrying about any sort of cost for the commentary, the commentary is actually free. It's available to both home and away fans. So Alan March Sport actually provide the commentary via Zoom, so you can get updates from home whilst games are being played behind closed doors, obviously. The facility is completely free to use. All fans need to do is register their interest at info@alanmarchsport.com. and details on how to access each feature will be provided to you. So that's how you access it. Certainly be something I'd employ you to do if you're blind or partially sighted. Certainly do that, because it will enhance your experience of being a Saints fan.
Fantastic. It is fantastic, mate. Great service.
Again, reasons to be proud to be a Saints fan, Mark.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. And I think there's more good news to come.
Absolutely. So the next article, more good news coming out of the club. Southampton Football Club is delighted to announce that young forward Nathan Teller has signed a 3-year contract extension. The talented 20-year-old who recently made his senior debut as a late substitute against Norwich has committed his future to the club till 2023. Joining Saints from Arsenal in 2017, and he says he's determined to make his mark in the first team after impressing at youth level. Still young, still eligible to play for the under-23. He's got my sights set on being with the first team as much as I can. It's a great feeling to know the club's showing faith in me. I want to do as well as I can and hopefully cement my place in the first team in the future. Well, let's hope, Nathan, you're one of those youngsters who's got a bright future ahead of him, and we certainly hope you come on leaps and bounds.
Yeah, I mean, he came on against, was it Norwich?
Yes.
I think he mainly came on against Norwich.
Against
Norwich. Either Norwich or Watford, I can't remember, but I think it's Norwich
for a senior debut. Hopefully he progressed. There is something there. Obviously he came through the Arsenal system. We got him on the exit trials. But I've seen him play quite a few times for the under-23s, and good player, being blighted by injuries, to be honest with you, recently. He's had a few horrendous injuries, but hopefully he'll be able to kick on, and it's good to see that he's signed the contract. Yeah, definitely. And they're saying that the Saints medical team have worked hard with him, the conditioning staff as well, and that's the reason he's doing well at the moment. He's being rewarded for that hard work. He did have a long injury last year and went through a right tough time. So that's really good. So moving on from there, even more good news, and I know Mark's going to be absolutely ecstatic about this. And I'm pretty happy about this as well. This is a guy that Mark's waxed absolutely lyrical about. This guy's outstanding, Mark says. Definitely one of the best talents in the under-23s. And that is the news that Southampton Football Club is pleased to announce that promising young defender Oladair Olunfunwa has signed a new 2-year contract, keeping it at St Mary's till 2022. 18 years old, he's risen through the ranks of Saints Academy and promotion to the under-23 squad in 2019 after a string of impressive performances. And 10 times last term, before the season was unfortunately cut short, he grew to become an integral part of Dave Horseman's side, since being involved in first team training under the watchful eye of Ralph Hasenhüttl. And Mark will tell you, everyone, this guy is a real talent. He is a real player, man. And the other thing about him is, we've had players that have been born in different places and born in Eastleigh and born sort of not too far. But this lad was born in the city of Southampton, and I just hope, if he progresses the way he's going, Mark, trust me, he'll be in that first team squad in no time. And he'll be knocking on the door against the Jack Stevenses and all the rest of it, and and the Jan Valeries of this world. Trust me. Yeah, absolutely, and we can't wait to see that. To be fair, so Oladair, we wish you all the best, and good luck to you. Good luck to Nathan Teller as well, and we look forward to seeing both of you blossoming. Yeah, well, I look forward to hopefully seeing them both playing in the first team. Well, who knows? We might even be back in the stadium by then. Ever the optimist. Right, moving on from there. So this is really good news as well. Saints supporters are now able to purchase merchandise in person from Saints Store in West Quay, with ticket representatives also based at the store on Tuesdays and Fridays during July, which is obviously quite helpful given that at the moment, obviously season ticket sales are available online, but fans are advised that ticket office windows and phone lines remain closed at the present time. So for any inquiries, you can email tickets@saintsfc.co.uk. Staff are on hand. You can also request a call to discuss your 2020-21 season ticket by filling in details on the website. There is a button you can press to do that. But you've got the store at West Quay is now open and operating under government guidelines, which means the opening hours are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sundays. Saints store at St Mary's unfortunately remains closed because obviously St Mary's is cordoned off, as we all know. but you can still visit their online store, which is really, really good. So there we go. What do you make of that, Mark?
Well, the only thing I would just say to the listeners is, so if you're having problems online, like Mark and I had, and I've heard from other people that they've been having problems about renewing season tickets or even trying to purchase a new season ticket online, all I would do is I would advise you to go down to the West Keys store on a Tuesday during July or on a Friday during July, and the ticket representatives from the club are there on hand, I believe, from 10 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
so,
it's also important to remind everyone as well, if you have any questions or queries, anything you're not happy about, you can obviously contact supporterrelations@saintsfc.co.uk. And if that's a route you don't want to go down, you could also think about contacting the Saints Disabled Supporters Association via their website or social media. So saintsdsa.org.uk, I believe, is the website, and you can obviously contact them and ask them to put forward whatever your concerns or queries are if you don't feel comfortable doing that with the club. So there are avenues of getting things out there.
Yeah, no, as I say, I just think it's a good thing because, as I say, I know loads of people were having problems or are having problems renewing, and obviously the club has a lot of calls to make to people. I was speaking to somebody actually connected with the club, and he was saying that, until recently they had about 2,500 calls to make in relation to renewing season tickets and new season tickets. And obviously it's been difficult for one or two people, well, I say one or two, 2,500 people to access, the new ticketing system on the website.
Yeah, so give it time, people. We will get there, and the club will get there. It's just going to take a bit of time. But as I say, we've given you the ways of contacting certain people if you need to sort that out. So hopefully you'll do that if you get any issues. Right, moving on from there. Saints' final 3 Premier League fixtures have been confirmed. So Ralph Hasenhüttl's side will host Brighton at St Mary's on Thursday, the 16th of July. That is an 8:15pm kickoff. Their tie against Brighton will be broadcast live on BT Sport. For those of you who haven't got BT Sport, hopefully you'll find another way of streaming it from somewhere. Legally, of course. Following that, Saints will travel to Bournemouth Vitality Stadium. This fixture will go ahead on Sunday, 19th of July. That will be at 2 p.m. and is going to be screened by BT Sport. So, opportunity to see Saints relegating Bournemouth live on TV. Fantastic. And the final Premier League match of the 2019-20 season has been confirmed for Sunday, the 26th of July at 4 p.m. That will be Chris Wilder. Sheffield United will be the side visiting St Mary's to bring down the curtain on an unprecedented top-flight campaign that saw a 3-month break due to the coronavirus situation, which we've talked about to death, so we won't be talking about that anymore.
Nope.
Thankfully. Yay. Right. There you go, Mark. What do you think?
No, I mean,
Good news, I think.
I have to say the time's a bit bizarre, but I look forward to it. We don't seem to have got the later time slots that Man City was the first one that we had sort of a late time slot for. So it was as I say, that should be interesting. And like you say, 2 o'clock against Bournemouth on the Sunday. Potential chance to take, to put them down. I think the thing is it'll be I'm really interested actually in the Sheffield United game because obviously they've had a mixed start. They beat Tottenham there recently. The thing is the reason why I'm sort of interested in that game is because, like Brighton, funnily enough, we could do the double over both of them this season. We beat Sheffield United 1-0 up at their place, and we beat Brighton 1-0 up at their place. So there's two good reasons for doing the double over them. They're both the home games too, So let's see what happens.
Yep, absolutely. So moving on from there, this relates to the next article relates to Jack Stevens saying he wanted to prove people wrong. He'd been written off. The Saints defender on his key role in the club's revival after being dropped, keeping himself entertained during lockdown, and oh dear, this one makes me chuckle. And his Cornish Maldini nickname. Yeah, that's a bit of an unfortunate nickname for Jack Stevens. No offence to Jack. He's no Maldini, is he, Mark?
I mean, the thing is it's a song that the Saints fans sing, especially away from home about him. All I would say is you know that I'm one of his harshest critics because I'm still to be totally convinced. But all I would say is performances for me are getting better, and you know, and he is sort of proven his worth within the team. You know,
I'm just going to read this little bit that they've done in this article, Mark. Sorry to interrupt. I've got to read this because this makes me chuckle. This does. Okay, it says this is brilliant. You've got to hear this, people, because this is quite funny. When Saints returned to training in May, it was a case of getting the band back together. Not only is Ralph Hasenhüttl at home on a grand piano and Shane Long partial to an end-of-season sing-song, but Danny Ings and Jack Stevens share the same guitar teacher. I like the older rock and indie music, whereas Danny loves Ed Sheeran, so he learns all of his stuff, but that's not for me. I'm more Oasis/Beatles, says Stevens. Danny's quite competitive with it, but I don't take it too seriously. Well, either he's quite competitive or our teacher's just playing us off against each other. Yeah, I can't help thinking Ralph's probably doing that in training.
all I'll say is at least he gets brownie point. Jack, you get even extra brownie points from me because at least your musical taste isn't too bad.
Yeah, to be fair, doing this show, we've heard some of the lockdown playlists of the players, haven't we, Martin? Some of them
have been shocking. It's been absolutely shocking. And we've had to try and pick the bones out of it. And you're sitting there thinking, what are we listening to here?
There's some truly shocking tunes out there from some players. But yeah. Oh, yeah, just, no. For me, that's just, no, I mean, fair play Jack Stevens. He was written off by a lot of people, wasn't he? And to be fair, he's turned it round, and against City, he probably had his best game in the Saints shirt. So fair play to him.
Yeah, I mean,
it's nice to see a player come back when you feel that he's
I go along with that, and I mean, I think he was on a break, or the Premier League might have been on a break, but I know that the local side here near to me, Shonan, they played a team in one of the cup competitions there, and it basically where Jack's from. It's Jack's local side, and funnily enough, he was there watching the game. So, he, obviously he takes an interest in, in clubs where he was before or local sides where he was before and stuff like that. But no, I mean, look, I'm happy, mate, that he's proven me wrong at the minute. But all I would like to see is centre halves in there that are pushing Bednarek and pushing Stevens, because I don't think they're being pushed at the minute. To me, they're automatic picks as long as they're not suspended.
Well, they're the best of a bad bunch, aren't they? No,
yeah.
Jan Bednarek, to be fair, is not. Jan Bednarek's actually a decent defender, to be fair to him.
Yeah, no, he's a quality defender, mate. Quality.
He has been quite consistent, to be fair. I can't really say Jack's been that consistent.
Jan's proved me wrong, because the first game that I seen him at, and we played 3 centre backs in that game, was against Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Carabao Cup, and we lost that game that night. And
yeah.
It was his first performance, and I thought to myself, his first appearance, and I thought to myself, what have we bought here for 5 million quid? But I mean, the 5 million quid, to be fair, if you looked over the last 4 seasons, it's been a bargain. He's been an absolute bargain for 5 million quid.
Yep, no, absolutely. So we'll move on to our next article. And this is regards to, have Saints got a wealthy businessman who's invested funds in them? Saints appear to have secured investment from the holding company of Dow Technologies founder Michael Dow. A number of Saints fans noticed that a new entry in the filing history for Southampton Football Club Limited on Companies House details a registration of charge with the attached document revealing an agreement with MSD UK Holdings Limited. Additional information from the Sunderland Echo helps to shed further light on the situation. It actually reveals that Dow's holding company was partly involved in a rumoured takeover of Sunderland as a passive minority investor. MSD had then been looking to invest in Championship side Derby County before settling on Saints. So this is quite an interesting one. It remains unclear how this investment has been made, but journalist Duncan Castles mentioned recently via Transfer Window podcast, Saints were looking to take out a loan to ensure their short-term future financially, due to obviously the situation that we won't talk about anymore because we've talked about it to death, but we all know what that situation was and what it caused. Obviously, Saints made a 34 million loss during last season, and this year's circumstances will obviously put further strain on the club's financial position, they think. We're told the club are absolutely fine. But obviously, one of the other issues is that, obviously, Gail Jishang said Saints is not a pig to be fattened, but he also said he's not going to invest a huge amount of money, if anything. The other issue with that is, obviously, using his funds directly could actually lead to a breach of financial fair play rules and cause even more problems. So, great if it's an investment, Mark, but slightly worrying if it's a remortgage of the stadium, isn't it?
Hang on. Let me just clear something up, Mark, as I understand it right. Saints fans, listen to what I'm going to say here. It's not a remortgage of the stadium. Whoever put that out there, it's nonsense, okay? But what it is so Martin Dale basically wants to come in, and he's been looking to invest in a football club. As I understand it, he's looking to different platforms within media streams and stuff like that. So we could be involved in something like that. And at the moment, yes, he's come in, and obviously there's an investment there, which obviously helps Saints. I mean, I think also it may be even in the form of a loan, which we're paying back. I mean, we all know, well, maybe there might be a few people that don't know, but certainly the second in command at Southampton, in terms of the hierarchy, the structure of the hierarchy, Toby Steele does come from an accountancy background, so I'd be very surprised if he hasn't looked at the terms of the loan agreement and sort of thought to himself, well, we can live with those kind of repayments.
Very important. It's also very important to point out to Saints fans that this is not the first loan the club have had, and they've not had issues repaying for previous loans. You know, if you look at the documentation on Company's House, and you can go on there, look up Southampton Football Club Hold Limited on there, and you'll find all the information you need. If you go through that, you'll see that Saints have had various loans previously, and those have been cleared. So it's not an issue repaying loans. So I certainly wouldn't worry about that. I think it's safeguarding what's happened during the pandemic, and like you said, it looks as though it's just investment, which is great.
I mean, all I'm going to say, Mark, is because of the pandemic, clubs have had to cover their bases just in case. You know, you're covering your bases, right? We've seen Tottenham taking a loan out with the Bank of England. We've seen one or two other Premier League clubs, you know, securing loans with other people. You know, we have gone down this route with Dale, and all I would say to people is I don't think it's anything to be concerning yourselves about. In fact, I would welcome it, because you never even know. It might get to the point where, you know, Guy, at the end of the day, Guy's decided to sell. We're not talking about fattened calves and all the rest of it. You know, Guy has turned around and said that he has taken a hands-off approach and won't be investing any money in the football club. So the hierarchy of the football club have to think of different ways to get money into the football club until such times as Mr. Guy gets a buyer. And the other thing that I would say is don't be surprised if eventually, maybe sometime in the future, Martin Dale or Michael Dale, whatever his name is, decides that he wants to, you know, further his investment and become owner maybe of Southampton Football Club.
It's quite exciting in a way, because if you think about it, obviously if he decides to actually become owner of the club, we might even end up with a stadium called St Mary's Dale or something. You never know. It'd be quite strange to see Dale on a Saints shirt, though, wouldn't it? Although it'd be quite poetic in a way.
It would be fantastic to see Dale on a Saints shirt. Actually, that's what they should be thinking about. Get rid of that rubbish, whatever whatever it is, Chinese TV sports network that we're currently advertising and get Dell. Just the word Dell will do, you know. Happy days. Couldn't get anything more retro than that.
I would love to see the word Dell Saint shirt. I think it would be fantastic. Very poetic. Right, moving on from there. News about Fraser Forster. And this is quite interesting. We both thought that he was looking set to obviously go off to Celtic, back to Celtic, maybe even permanently. And apparently he's going to have the opportunity to impress Ralph Hasenhüttl after his time at Celtic came to an end. He's apparently decided not to return to Celtic and actually stay at Saints and fight for his place, which is a bit of an interesting turn of events, Mark. Not necessarily great news given the huge contract he's on. But to be fair, I can sort of understand why he wants to give it another crack and why Ralph's given him the opportunity. But I don't know, we're sort of back to square one, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm a bit. I mean, the thing is I think, you know, I welcome it if Ralph has turned around and said, you know, welcome back to the full Fraser, the number one, you know, position as keepers up for grabs. You know, show me what you can do, or, you know, prove to me that you're a worthy person to take the shirt from Alex McCarthy. You know, and it'll be interesting competition-wise, you know, if all three of them are there, who's actually going to, you know, get the number one slot. But what I would say is, Mark, there's an air of caution here for me, because first thing is I'm hearing today that, you know, it might be a case of, you know, the Celtic move might be back on. But one of the other things that did occur to me, and I'm dismissive for the Celtic move being back on personally, but one of the things that did occur to me was he's moved back down south because, you know, there might be a move in the offing to another club in the Premier League, again as a number two. You know, I keep seeing this story being regurgitated about Arsenal being the Arsenal number two. So I do think that while I welcome the news that he obviously Ralph wants him back to fight for the number one jersey, and I think that's right proper given the season that he's had at Celtic. You know, there is an air of caution with me where I sort of sit there and I think, you know, if Saints got the right offer for him, you know, from a club down here, because they're the only, you know, it's only a club from down here that's going to be able to cover his wages. You know, if Saints get the right offer, I still think that we'd take it given the amount of wages that we're paying him.
I think you're probably right. No, I think that's more than reasonable what you said there. I certainly agree with most of that, to be fair. I think at that point we'll take another break, and when we come back, we'll go into other football news.
It's Mark C and Mark H. Mark my word, they're here with everything in the Two Saints Show.
Right, welcome back, everybody. Other football news. Dan Evatt, Bolton Wanderers named Barrow manager as new head coach. Gambling in football, betting sponsorship on shirts should be banned, according to a Lords report. Premier League promoted clubs set to receive less money than expected. Wigan Athletic fans call for EFL support amid and investigation, obviously given that they're in the relegation situation. Administration situation there. Premier League transfer window could open on July 27th with vote to take place. So we'll start with. So Ian Evatt, Bolton Wanderers have named the Barrow manager as their new head coach. Obviously Bolton now in League Two. And obviously Ian Evatt leading Bolton next season, it means that the 38-year-old who guided the Cumbrian side to League Two's national champions last season has signed a deal until the end of the 2023 season, and will face his old side next season after Bolton went down from League One. So Bolton in League Two. I never thought I'd hear the day that Bolton were in League Two, Mark. It's not great, is it?
No, I have to say, you know, I don't really want to talk about the Bolton situation. Let's talk about Ian Evatt. So Ian Evatt was a centre back that played mainly for Blackpool, and he was quite good, you know, standard of footballer. And obviously he's gone to Barrow. Obviously he's turned them into, you know, they've been promoted, you know, as champions, and now he's taken over at Bolton. And I have to say that from my point of view, it's quite disappointing to see that he won't be leading Barrow into the Football League. But obviously, I understand that his decision is probably based on the fact that he'll have a bigger budget to work with at Bolton than he would have had at Barrow. I'll be interested to see who Barrow appoint as manager. Yeah, but obviously, budgets, and I wish him well. I wish him well in the Bolton job.
Yeah, best of luck with that. So moving on to our next story, gambling in football, betting sponsorship on shirts should be banned according to a Lords report. The Premier League clubs should not be allowed to have betting firms on their shirts. A House of Lords Select Committee report is recommended. Yeah, I'd agree with that actually. Shouldn't be doing it. Put a decent sponsor in there. Don't put a betting firm on there. I agree with that. Shouldn't be on there. Doesn't look right, and for me, it's not right.
Mark, for once we're in agreement. I have to say, I haven't got a problem with betting promoting itself around the stadium, on the boards even, but I just don't like the idea that we're helping promote. For a lot of people, it ends up being an addiction and a lifestyle choice, and you just sort of sit there and you think, unfortunately, the betting side of things does spread misery. I know there's people out there that can bet responsibly and all the rest of it, but I don't really want to see my football club promoting a betting company.
No, absolutely right, and I agree with that. I mean, gambling does have a huge effect on people's lives, positive and negative, and unfortunately, when it's a negative effect, it's huge, and it has a huge impact on families, individuals, causes all sorts of problems. So no, for me, and my argument to that would be, I think there's more than enough promotion that goes on within the Premier League at the moment. You don't need to put it on shirts as well.
Yeah, exactly.
There's more than enough advertising and promotion that goes on already. So
you look at if you're sat watching something like Sky Sports, right, and Sky Sports goes to a break, how many betting adverts do you see in one break? And then that goes on throughout the match, every time they go for a break, so it's like you say, it's not like the betting firms don't get enough coverage, enough advertising space and everything else.
And in fairness, Mark, no disrespect to Ray Winston, I don't mind watching a bit of sport, but I don't particularly want to see Ray's mug coming up every 5 minutes going, bet 365 or whatever it is, I don't. No offence, Ray, good actor and all that, but don't waste your time with that, mate. Nobody wants to see that. No, I don't want to see that every 5 minutes. I tune in and watch the football, not hear your mug going, are you going to cash out half time? Well, I don't really care, Ray, to be quite honest with you, mate. I have no interest in it.
I thought you were going to go into a Cockney accent there.
I've had people tell me I've got a South London accent, but I don't know how they work that one out, Mark, to be fair.
He's an East Ender, isn't he?
Yeah,
anyway, moving on.
Premier League, promoted clubs are set to receive less money than expected. Well, it's probably not less money than expected because obviously given the current situation, you can't be really surprised. But it seems as though those promoted to the Premier League next season will actually receive 8 million less than they expected. Correct. And this is due to a reduction of a 330 million rebate the league has agreed to pay broadcasters because of the temporary suspension of the current season. So, so they've ended up having to repay Sky and everyone else, despite the fact all the broadcasters were like, no, you won't have to repay nothing. They've actually had to make a £330 million rebate. Yeah. Absolutely stuck. And I feel sorry for the clubs getting promoted, to be fair.
Yeah, no, so do I. The thing is if you're club promoted, just looking on the basis of that, I mean, £8 million could be the difference to ban a player, and or other financial, because obviously you're not, as a promoted club, you're not necessarily coming up kind of as equals, even though you're getting, the same slice of the pot. But it'll be interesting to see as a result, what sort of transfers the three promoted teams make, because even though, they get sizable money for coming into the Premier League, £8 million still £8 million at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, to be fair, for a promoted team, that could be one half decent signing that they might really need that make a huge difference to their team. And that could be the difference between staying up in the Premier League and going straight back down.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm moving on. Obviously, this relates to the next article relates to Wigan Athletic. We all know they're in administration. But their official supporters club has written to the Football League to demand a full investigation into how the club is in administration. They went into administration sadly on the 1st of July, 4 weeks after they were brought from one Hong Kong-based company. The company is part owned by poker player Stanley Choi, who's also the chairman of the group selling the club. The supporters club called for financial help from the EFL. Since it was out the club had entered administration, various rumours have surfaced, including one EFL chairman, Rick Parry, recounted to a fan that Wigan had been the subject of a bet to get relegated. Once their 12-point penalties applied, they will drop to the bottom of the table. So they're writing to the EFL to request that they make a formal statement acknowledging a full investigation into the events surrounding Wigan Athletic being placed into administration is required before they consider whether the sanction placed on the football club may need to be reviewed.
I'm going to set a precedent for myself here, Mark, right, and say to you, absolute mess, shambles. People should be hanging their heads in shame in relation to what's going on here. So what we're basically talking about is Wigan. So Wigan's takeover got ratified. It actually got ratified, I think it was a week after coronavirus struck, right? Yeah. And 3 weeks later, they then turned around and said, we're pulling out due to the coronavirus.
Yeah, so basically the administrators are attempting
under the wall.
Yeah, so basically the administrators are attempting to cover a 6 million shortfall in income, which was supposed to arrive from Hong Kong to pay last month's wages, but never appeared. Manager Paul Cook and his squad were not paid on Friday scheduled, but still travelled to Brentford where they were beaten 3-0. Probably got beaten 3-0 because they haven't got paid and all probably depressed.
The thing is Mark, as well, right? And that this is, it's alluded to in what you've just read out there in the story, okay? So on Saturday night, I was listening to 606, and I'm going to recount the story. So I can't, we can't get touched here. I'm just recounting what was said. So the fan that actually confronted Rick Parry, well, I say confronted, Rick Parry, who's the Football League, guru, head honcho, chairman, whatever it is, at the moment. Now, he got voted in October. It's important to say that, right? And the clubs themselves decide, who a fit and proper person is. So the clubs do have a lot to answer for. It's not an administration thing. It's the clubs that actually decide, on the fit and proper person's rules, right? But the crazy thing, Mark, was this supporter went to Rick Parry's home, right? And Rick Parry spoke to him. Now, rightly or wrongly, the guy was recording the conversation, okay? So they got into the crux of how the ownership came about and stuff like that there. But Rick Parry revealed to him that the ownership were also involved with a Philippines company, right, who had placed a rather large bet on Wigan going down. Now the thing is Wigan, if this goes through, Wigan lose 12 points, right, and they get relegated. Does that mean to say that Philippines company who placed this rather large bet then gets the cash out or not? But the thing. If this is all proved to be true, Mark, and there seems to be a lot of money that's gone missing as well, but I've got to say, I've always said to you, what the rules are before the season kicks off, right? And I'm led to believe that the EFL are going to tighten the rules on ownership, and the thing is, you're going to have to accept these punishments.
The thing is,
the points. But the thing is I'm going to make an exception on this point and say Wigan shouldn't lose any points as far as I'm concerned. If it's proved to be right, they shouldn't lose any points, trust me.
I get that. Yeah, and it's a difficult one as well, isn't it? So we'll move on from there. Decision time. The Premier League transfer window could open on July 27th with a vote to take place later this week. Premier League clubs are expected to finalise dates for this summer's transfer window later this week. Conference call is scheduled for Thursday, during which top flight sides will vote on whether to open the window before the end of the season or extend the deadline into October. I'd rather have seen them open it earlier, Mark, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think I would too. I think at the end of the day, I think the obviously the window probably would stay open to the end of September, like you would normally have in an August thing. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the window open before the end of the season, or even the week after the season ends. So that doesn't necessarily surprise me, especially if they're aiming to have everything back up and running by the 17th of September, Mark.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I would expect, as I say, the transfer window then to remain open probably to the 30th or the 1st of October.
Yeah, definitely go on for a while, I think. All right, well, that brings us to the end of that section of the show for today. So we're going to take another break now, and when we come back, we'll be doing Saints transfer news.
The Two Saints Show here on Fiesta FM. Tune in every Thursday, 12 till 2 for informative football chat and great tune.
So Saints transfer news links. Southampton are set to ditch Angus Gunn this summer after just 2 years at St Mary's. Mark Lawrenson sends a strong message to Southampton over Danny Ings. Saints boss is confident Ings will remain at St Mary's. Lemina attracts interest from abroad. Everton hopeful they have finances to beat Spurs to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg sign him. Crystal Palace to rival Southampton for Brentford striker Ollie Watkins by all accounts. So, Mark, starting with, obviously, Angus Gunn. It appears his time at Saints may well be over, with him not having played since conceding 9 against Leicester and just 2 years after coming in from Man City for £13.5 million.
Well, I think the thing is it sort of follows on from a story that we covered, a couple of weeks ago now, when it was revealed that he's requested to go out on loan.
Yeah.
Because basically he feels he's not getting the game time at Saints, and it would look like a move to a Championship side would be the preferred option. The only thing is you wonder whether a Championship side is going to be able to cover his wages. It would have to be one of the better Championship sides, but when I say better, I mean financially better off Championship sides. So I think, it's a case of watch this space. Do you think it's going to happen? It all depends what happens with Fraser, to be honest, mate. And that's the best answer at the minute I can give you, because I'm not totally, like we said previously when we're in the Saints news, but I'm not entirely convinced that he's necessarily here to knuckle down and go for the number 1 jersey. I hope I'm wrong, because I'd like to see that. But I do think that Fraser will look at his options over the summer. So whether Angus gets the move or not depends on that. But obviously, if Fraser stays, then Angus gets moved out on loan.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty much sums it up quite nicely, I think, actually. So we move on to our next article, which is Mark Lawrenson has sent a strong message. It's just ex-players and what they think. I don't really care, to be fair. But anyway, Danny Ings has obviously scored 18 times Southampton in the Premier League this season. Only 1 goal behind Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Jamie Vardy in the Golden Boot race. But he's not anymore, because Vardy's now about 2 or 3 ahead of him. But anyway, so Mark Lawrenson has been full of praise for Saints striker Danny Ings. I just wish he'd be quiet sometimes. He believes he will be a player in demand for clubs in the next transfer window after such a fine season with Saints. What a signing Ings has turned out to be, Laurie said. He's a brilliant goal poacher. If you look around the league, there are plenty of teams who need a goal scorer. I reckon there will be a few clubs trying to take him in the summer, but the stats show how important he is to Southampton because he gets so many of their goals. For his percentage to be so high, it's just staggering. Mark Lawrenson, shut up. Stop trying to shout ex-players every opportunity you get. Shut up.
What have I told you about ex-players, though, Mark? I just want to hear your opinion on it. Like,
the man's talking rubbish. I don't think Danny Ings is going anywhere, and even Ralph Hasenhüttl thinks that as well. Actually,
no. Well, that's what we're moving on to next. But I mean, I just had to throw it in there because I'm sort of sitting there thinking, I can see that this might be a bit of a long summer in the transfer market because every uneducated person in the world is going to be linking Danny Ings with a move away from Southampton.
Just lazy journalism. The thing is, this is the same Mark Lawrenson who predicts every week Saints are going to get beaten, and invariably they don't. So, Mark Lawrenson, go ball yet. You haven't got
throughout the 90s when he retired from football, right, and well into the noughties, him and Gene Self, who used to do the reports for the Sun newspaper, right, they always, when they were asked for their predictions for the season, Lawro always predicted that Saints were going to get relegated. And like you said, since he's become a pundit, near enough every bleeding Saturday, he's like Paul Merson. And we all know why Paul Merson does it, because of the Portsmouth connection, right? But Lawro just always, gives us the lose. And you just sort of think to yourself, change the record, mate, will you?
Mark Lawrenson, go boil your head. No Saints fan cares what you think. You can't see predicting we're going to get beaten, we don't. And you can't see saying that our players are going to go. Be quiet. Go and boil your head, mate. Have a word with yourself, really. Seriously. Well, anyway, this would be news to Mark Lawrenson's ears, this will. Fascinating, confident Danny Ings will remain at St Mary's. He's confident Saints will keep hold of Danny Ings this summer. He's bagged 18 top flight goals this season, just 3 behind Golden Boot leader Jamie Vardy. Hasenhüttl reckons there's no need for Ings to up sticks should a side come in for him when the transfer window opens. One of the positives in this one is Danny's one of our own. He's a guy who really enjoys being with us and playing on this area. Yeah, and he's also, if Mark Lawrenson bothered to do any homework, which he quite clearly hasn't, he'd also be aware of the fact that Danny Ings said he'd quite like to emulate Ricky Lambert in the eyes of the Saints. So if you think you can bugger off now, Mark, before he's done that, you've got another thing coming. You're sadly mistaken. Do your homework. Lazy journalism.
Yeah, all I want to say about that is, right, you look at Danny Ings' expression when he's playing, right, and that's a man who's enjoying. We may have had a difficult season. He didn't have a difficult season personally. We may have had a bit of a difficult season, but he has had a productive season. I mean, and when you look at him, he just plays with a smile on his face. He's enjoying his football. He's enjoying playing for his hometown club.
This would be even more news to Mark Lawrenson's ears. Then this is absolutely brilliant. I love this from Ralph. Yes, you never know. When someone comes and pays us 100 million for him, I don't know what we do then and what he does then. But I don't see this at the moment. 100 million. I love Ralph. He's great.
And he knows he's on sure ground now, because let's be honest, who in the current climate, and we're not going to mention it, but you know what I'm talking about, in the current climate, who's going to offer £100 million? Clubs are struggling financially, so who's going to be offering it? Because that's the sort of bit that it would take for Saints even to consider it.
Yeah.
So it's got to be somewhere between, because it has to be a serious bid, Mark. For me, it has to be somewhere between 90 and £100 million.
Yeah,
maybe even more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, well, I think we'll move on from that one. Mark Lawrenson's had enough airtime from us. Mario Lemina attracted interest from abroad as Saints looked to offload the midfielder. He spent the season on loan with Turkish side Galatasaray after coming to the realisation he wasn't part of manager Ralph Hasenhüttl's plans. Yeko understands the club have received inquiries relating to him and his availability. Reports in Turkey claim Galatasaray would be interested in making his move permanent, unable to pay the sort of money that Saints would be after. Yeah, and despite the fact Saints are rumoured to have slashed that in half, they still won't pay it. So, yeah, same somewhere. Yeah, a Turkish newspaper in May, he revealed his desire was to stay in Turkey and become a Galatasaray legend. Yeah, right. That made me laugh, Mario. But anyway, despite saying this, the Saints loanee didn't close the door on a potential return to Marseille, the team he played for before moving to Juventus. French side are led by ex-Chelsea and Tottenham boss Andre Villas-Boas. In a recent interview, Lemina said, "Yes, of course, possible return to Marseille interests me. Even without the recovery project, Marseille remains a club in my heart."
All I would say in relation to that, Mark, is the thing is it's coming from the Echo, right? But the whole article is conjecture because there's no clubs named. there's been inquiries. There's been no confirmed bids made. You know, don't be surprised just to see Mario back on loan at Galatasaray next season. I mean, he's fast becoming into the same bracket as people that we can't get rid of, like Wesley Hoyt, you know, Carrillo, you know, people like that. And
one of the players I thought we'd struggle to get rid of, which was Charlie Austin, we had no problem getting a shot of him.
No, I mean, I think the thing is he was always going to end up going back into the Championship, you know, because he knows his way around that. And, you know, at the end of the day, he's doing well for Slaven Bilić's West Brom. But you know, in terms of the people that we're looking to get rid of, I mean, Mario Lemina, before the start of this season, you know, you would have sat there and you would have said he'll be able to retain the sort of money, maybe, you know, 2 or 3 million less, but at least you're still getting the sort of money you paid for him. But now you sort of sit there and you think he's only probably worth half or even less that, because he's basically making himself unsellable.
See, no, I'll agree with that. Well, I think we'll move on to our next topic after that, actually. So, Everton are hopeful they have the finances to beat Spurs to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg's signing. According to Daily Mail, Everton are hopeful they can take advantage of Tottenham's strict finances to beat them to his signing. Saints midfield has been heavily linked with a move this summer. So, apparently they're saying Spurs have long had interest in Saints man. Recent report in Telegraph claimed Højbjerg is keen on a move to the North London club. Well, being keen on a move somewhere and it actually going ahead is a completely different thing all entirely, Mark, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Højbjerg one's going to be interesting, right? Because the thing is the Liverpool
from KWP.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mark, right? So Tottenham can dangle the card at KWP, right? But that isn't enough to cover what Saints would want for him in terms of a transfer fee, right? Now, I've stated on the show and on the pod before, right, that basically for me, Pierre isn't worth 35 million quid, right? I don't believe he's worth that. I believe Saints have put that out there as a negotiation point, but given what's going on at the minute, probably the press market, you know, you're looking more at round about 20 million. So, you know, I've said it before, Kyle Walker-Peters, you know, £12 million to me, 12 to 15 million pound, and then 5 to 8 million, you know, in terms of cash. But the problem you have with that is he may want to go to Tottenham and Saints may be willing to do a deal. But if Everton come in and say, we're willing to pay your price, right, and they're willing to give the money up front, Saints are going to take the money. They're not going to sit. You know, he's going to end up going to Everton, whether he likes it or not, if Everton have the money.
To be fair as well, I think it also depends if the topic we talked about earlier, if it's actually a loan we're getting or investment. I think it does depend whether that money is a loan or investment, because if it's an investment, then the chances are Saints might actually say no to the Højbjerg money and go for the deal with Tottenham, involving a little bit of cash and a swap for KWP, who's somebody they probably need, to be fair. But obviously that does hinge on the fact of whether or not Kyle Walker-Peters performs like he did against Man City for the last few games and doesn't have to earn a contract. Because obviously that's something that's a bit up in the air, isn't it? We don't know for definite at the moment. It looks promising, but he's got to maintain that for the next 5 games. If he doesn't, then they're likely to take a deal with Everton for 35 million, aren't they?
Well, I think we can all safely say that if he continues the form that he's on at the minute till the end of the season, you know, it's something that Saints are going to have to give serious consideration.
The other important thing as well, as controversial as this may be, and this is what I think personally, I actually thought the Man City game, we didn't miss Højbjerg at all. I don't think we missed it.
Well, I mean, I totally concur with that, man. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the midfield did the sterling work that you would have expected from Højbjerg anyway. So in that sense, we didn't miss him. You know, I mean, you know, Romeu, the last 2 games, to be fair to Oriel, you know, he's come in and he's done the job. And you know, like I keep saying on the on the show and on the podcast. I hope his new contract's appearing sometime soon, along with Ryan Bertram's, because they both come into their final year this summer.
Well, talking about contracts and other things as well, that links us quite nicely to the next topic, which relates to Crystal Palace as a rival Saints for Brentford striker Ollie Watkins. Now, this is obviously a striker that's been linked with Saints a couple of times, and this name's come up before, Mark, isn't it? But
yeah, he
part
has.
of me thinks with a release clause of 18 million, or for being available for 18 million is buyout clause, that for me is too much money for Saints, even though he was within the age bracket of players that Ralph would want to sign. However, if we have got any investment coming in, it may be that we have some sort of budget for buying players.
Yeah. No, and it's
18 million is not beyond the realms of possibility, is it?
Yeah, it's right.
The question would be, he's 23. Has he developed sufficiently enough to make an impact in the Premier League? And given the way that Shay Adams has struggled, is Ollie Watkins going to have a similar issue in adapting? Because I think Shay's only issue has been adapting, hasn't it? And lack of game time. And my concern would be, has Ollie Watkins developed enough at 23 to be a good addition? Or is he one of those players that you think, do you know what? He's 23, he's not really made the impact yet as such. Is he going to do it?
I'm going to cover that for you in a minute now. So Ollie Watkins, for me, he would be coming to the club, right, as a third choice striker. So what I would say is he might actually go in. If we were to sign him, he'd probably go in alongside Shane. They'd both be vying for, to both sit on the bench, if you like. I think the problem is you sign somebody like Ollie Watkins, to me, it means that people like Dan Lanudu, effectively, and maybe even Michael Omafemi, don't have a future at the football club.
So notice Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins has actually played as a winger previously.
Yes.
Before he was adapted to a striking role.
Yes.
My question to that would be, if they bring in somebody like Ollie Watkins, does that mean somebody like Sofiane Boufal would possibly be moved on from the club?
Well, you see, that's the other interesting thing with Ollie Watkins, right? Because I've got to say, Mark, right, he has been scoring goals. Now, I'm not fully up to date whether Brentford are deploying him as a striker or whether he's still, because he can still play sort of midfield, attacking midfield positions or winger, as you have said, right? And all I would say is Brentford are the top scorers in the Championship, believe it or not, even though Leeds and West Brom and that are above them.
Yeah,
but they've actually scored more goals than any other team in the Championship.
He did previously play for Brentford as a winger. He's adapted to the central striker role, and he's basically turned into a bit of a lethal frontman, from what they're saying.
Yeah,
so it's kind of to it like a duck to water.
Yeah, because I know that they deployed him as well in the number 10 role for a while too. So there is that adaptability about him, and it's interesting you should say, because don't forget, Boufel's contract finishes next summer.
And that was the other reason that I brought that up, because obviously Boufel's contract's up next summer.
No, 100%.
And it might be a case of, would that be a player that Saints are looking to generate some money from?
Yeah, because I mean, I've got to be honest. Much as I like Sofiane, the West Brom goal, I was there in the stadium, couldn't believe what I was seeing. But I don't believe that the club will renew his contract. Now, whether they sell him they've got a lot to sort out even this summer, mate, because the thing is are they going to let Sofiane's contract run down till next summer, or are they going to sell him this summer and get some money for him? But as I say, when you look at it on the face of it, you sort of think could be a good addition. You just don't know. And we were interested in buying Ollie Watkins when he was at Exeter City, and we probably would have only paid, £1 million quid, £1.5 million. I don't think Brentford paid that much for him, really.
That's a fair point. Right, so we'll move on to the next one, which is and I think you summed that up quite nicely, Mark, actually. I think we both made some quite valid points there, and I think we both summed that up quite nicely.
Yeah.
So Man United in Southampton have sent scouts to watch Poland International, and they would have been impressed. So a number of leagues still active and trying to finish their proceedings. It's fair to say there's still a lot of work for scouts to do. This relates to, according to a report, it was claimed on Saturday, scouts from Man United and Saints were present at the game between Lech Poznan and Legia Warsaw to look at Kamil Jóźwiak.
Yeah, Ziak.
Obviously, 22 years old, was sent to Derby County, heavily linked with a move to Leeds.
Yes.
He's also been sent to Derby County by various outlets, but his serious transfer has yet to materialise. Perhaps now it could be his chance. Both scouts would have likely walked away chuffed to bits with what they saw, as Jóźwiak was key in Lech's 2-1 win, scoring the first half of 24 minutes and assisting Jakub Kaminski for the second 5 minutes later. Man United and Saints men weren't the only ones present in stands, as Freiburg, Werder Bremen, Augsburg and Anderlecht also sent representatives. Werder Bremen and Anderlecht for me would be a little bit too much competition for Saints to beat off, I think.
I've got to be honest. I think there are possibilities of us signing them, right? And the reason why I say it, Mark, is Ollie Watkins for the money. That's a lot of money for Ollie Watkins, right? Yeah. And the reason why I'm tying it into the Ollie Watkins is the lad's a winger, okay?
Yeah.
And he scored on Saturday, and I think he assisted in a 2-0 win. But what I was going to say to you was Lech Poznan is a club that we've dealt with before. It's where Jan Bednarek came from, you know. And the thing is, you know, if we could do a deal similar again with them, you know, I think the lad this Polish lad has a lot of potential, and obviously it wouldn't cost the club as much money as it would buy an up and coming English player, you know. So, and he's got a decent record. I mean, I think he's scored, you know, bearing in mind he's only 21, 22. He's scored 15 goals in, I think it's 99 appearances for the club. Obviously, I'd expect that as he grows and matures, you know, you'd expect obviously that to improve. But he does. I mean, I was looking at his assist stats, and certainly his assists for goals, very, very good, very good. You know, the thing is obviously you sit there and you think there will be a transition period for him. There was for Jan in his first season at Saints, you know, but you know he came through that, you know, in the first season, and he's blossomed ever since.
Yep.
So, you know, I just think to myself, you know, if you were buying this lad for 5-6 million quid, I mean, how much of a gamble is it? And I kind of disagree, because Werder Bremen aren't really a threat. Anderlecht didn't actually win the Belgium title this year. I mean, they've gone into free fall the last couple of seasons, whereas every year Anderlecht used to, you know, it used to be a procession. They used to win the title every season. You know, since I mean, I think one of the reasons why they brought Vincent Kompany back to the club was they wanted them to sort of revive their fortunes, because there's been a bit of a financial scandal at their football club as well. So yeah, I think it's much more. I think this transfer is much more plausible than, you know, if we are scouting them properly, and that's what we did with Jan. I mean, with Jan, we sent scouts over to Poland 5 times before we decided whether we were going to sign him or not. So, you know, as I say, if it's a sort of a lesser fee where it's not going to cost us too much and everything else, you know, it's not that much of a gamble. And I'd be prepared to take the gamble on this Polish lad, you know, then maybe shell out 16 million quid on Ollie Watkins.
Well, you summed that up really well. And at that point, I think we'll take our last break for today. And when we come back, we'll be doing our preview of Everton versus Saints and Man United versus Saints.
It's Mark C and Mark H. Mark my word, they're here with everything in the Two Saints Show.
Right, everyone, welcome back. Last segment of the show, our preview of Saints v Everton and Saints v Man United. So, Mark, for me, if Saints do what they did against Man City and replicate that, it's a win for Saints away. They've got it in the bag. It's going to be 2-0. If it's a bit after the Lord Mayor's show and we don't put it in the performance level that we did against City, I can see it being a slightly less favourable 2-2 draw, but it's still a good result. But if we're not at the races whatsoever, Everton will put us to this order. It's probably going to be 2-1. But I'm going to set on a 2-2 draw for me.
Right, okay. My thoughts are we're away from home, got a good record away from home. I'm going to say that we're going to build on Sunday's performance. I think that should have buoyed everybody, but hopefully not buoyed them too much that we're going to be complacent, because our record from away at Goodison is not good. It's probably our worst record in an away ground.
Before anyone messages the show and says, "Oh, well, actually, we beat them at Goodison Park." Yeah, but that was in a cup game, and it wasn't in over 90 minutes. It was on penalties.
On penalties,
it's important to remember that. Yeah, we did win, but it was on penalties.
And we were both there.
Yeah, we were both there. And we didn't win within 90 minutes. So remember that. But within 90 minutes, our record at Goodison Park is shocking.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, well, you know, both clubs, I would say, have moved on since when they met at St Mary's in November. Everton obviously had Marco Silva in charge then, and you know, and the beat us, but you know, given the home form and the run of form that we were on at the time, it wasn't that surprising. I think tables will be turned for me on Thursday.
Yep.
And I'm much more optimistic. I actually think that we're going to run out 3-0 winners.
Confident.
Right? And the other reason why I say that, Marcus, is right. It's a strange one, because before kind of lockdown and everything else, I thought to myself, Ancelotti's doing a decent job at Everton, right? And since the restart, it's been a bit of a mixed bag from them. And they were really, really poor against Tottenham on Monday night. They were really poor. Tottenham beat them 1-0, but Everton they seem void of ideas. And I just think if Danny Ings turns up there and he's got his mojo going, you know, and you know, the likes of you know, James Ward-Prowse are at his great best, and our fullbacks are getting forward, and Nathan Redmond, hopefully he's having one of his better games. Yeah, you know, and Shea Adams is buoyed by his goal scoring exploits against City. You know, I just sort of think to myself, if everybody's on it and they're bringing, as I say to you about this show, if you're bringing your A game, we're laughing. You know, and I just think they'll be buoyed after the City result, and I'm going for a 3-1 Saints victory, not 3-0, 3-1 Saints victory.
Well, given that our prediction for the Man City game didn't pan out for either one of us, Mark.
We're shocking at predicting, mate, I have to say.
I think we might just do everyone a favour and just not predict anything. It's absolutely shocking. Don't rely on the T Saints for a prediction, because it's awful. No, I'm joking. We do our best, people. We do our best. So yeah, for me 2-2, and for Mark 3-1 victory for Saints, which is great.
Yeah,
fantastic. It'd be nice to see a Danny Ings hat trick, wouldn't it? To be fair.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that annoy Jamie Vardy? Right. So moving on. Obviously our preview of Saints versus Man United. This to me, earlier in the season and before lockdown, looked a slightly easier game than it now looks, Mark. Given that Man United seems to have had a slight resurgence of form.
Yeah.
Although I do think they're vulnerable at the back still. I think even with Harry Maguire, it proved the other night that 80 million quid does not prevent you from getting completely nutmegged.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah. That's a good sign. Danny Ings would have noticed that, obviously. The other thing Saints would have noticed, and Danny Ings will certainly have picked up on being the king of closing keepers down, is the fact that David De Gea is having a bit of a mare, isn't he? Yeah. So for me, there's every chance the Saints will get a result from this. And I'm actually going 2-1 Saints win. But I do think it's going to be difficult because United have been quite resurgent.
I've got to be honest about this one. I think it's going to be a 3-2 United win. I think that going on from the Everton game, and my prediction, they're going to be on top of the world, and they're going to be ready to take on United. And basically, I just think that I look at the difference for United has been since Bruno Fernandes went there. I make no bones about that. Okay, it was a lot of money, but he is quality, mate, and he has dragged United up by the bootlaces. I know that it's not a one-man, football's not a one-man team sport and all the rest of it, but he has put in some quality performances, and certainly he has helped United's attacking front line, right?
Yeah.
Blossom, because I think I'm right in saying that United's front line has scored more goals than City's front line this season.
Well, I think.
Sorry, not City. Liverpool's front line. United's actually scored more goals this season than Firmino. Is it Firmino, Sadio Mane, and Salah? Yeah. United's front line of, is it Martial? Help me out here. Anthony Martial.
Mason Greenwood.
Marcus Rashford, and I can't think who the other one is, but
Mason Greenwood.
I'm not a United fan, so forgive me, but
Mason Greenwood.
Sorry, yeah, well, Mason Greenwood, but I think it was somebody else. But the point is their front three has scored more goals than the Liverpool front three, and I mean, if you've seen their performance, I know Bournemouth are doomed, right? And I agree with you. I think at the back they're susceptible. I mean, Harry Maguire, for the money they paid 80 million for him, which was more than Van Dijk. And he's actually...
He got nutmegged by Junior Stanislas.
He is... the guy's a lad, but I mean, he looks like a bit of a liability. Well, he doesn't look like a bit of a liability. He is a liability at the moment for them, So I think it'll be a close, tight contest, and I'm going Days lose narrowly and put in a good performance, 3-2.
Well, it'll be interesting when we come back next week to see if I've got egg on my face because I got the Everton result wrong.
Oh,
Mark ends up with egg on his face because he has the Man United score wrong.
I'll have egg on my face all over the place, mate. Everton and Man United, probably.
Right, so that's it, everyone. You've heard my prediction and Mark's prediction for what's going to happen against Man U. So that's that.
These predictions are just going to be a car crash.
Quite possibly. So you've all heard that. So you've heard it here first, folks. And if we're both wrong, then we'll be having a good old chuckle next week about it. I'm sure we'll be getting grief off everyone that knows us. Right, anyway, so that brings to an end today's show, which has been really good, really packed, lots of stuff to get through, lots of info, and some really good moments as well that we've been able to relive, which is great. So it's goodbye from myself, Mark C, and just to remind everyone that we have our Facebook page, Two Saints Show on Facebook. You can message us directly on there and get the latest edition of our podcast sent directly to you. We've also got a YouTube channel, the Two Saints Podcast Show. So it's goodbye from myself.
And it's goodbye from me. I just want to turn around and say that I hope the listeners all enjoyed today's show. I know Mark and I enjoyed doing today's show, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll listen to it. Hopefully you'll continue to listen to us, and thanks for listening. And I just want to say to you all to stay safe, stay well, and come on, you Saints.
Absolutely, totally echo those sentiments. Come on, you Reds. Join us again next week when the Two Saints go marching in again. Bye for now.
Bye.